as the Principal Private Secretary and Chief Information Officer to the Finance Minister Charles Haughey, Anthony James Fagan would be privy to all information and all dealings that come through the Finance Office of the Irish State. As part of an inquiry into circumstances surrounding the events in Northern Ireland from the 12th of August in 1969 going forward, Anthony James Fagan was interviewed with reference his knowledge on what part, if any, the Finance Ministry had played in what become known as the gun plot, an event after the 12th of August in 1969 in where that Irish government ministers, G2 Military Intelligence, working alongside John Kelly of the emerging Provisional IRA, they worked to finance, arm and train so-called defence committees in Northern Ireland in what they termed was for defence purposes. When examining the various Irish state papers that we have in our possession with reference to the making of this documentary, we noticed some files by Anthony James Fagan, which, to say the least, were very telling indeed. In a snippet from one of Anthony James Fagan's statements, he said, "I knew from Colonel Heffron that Captain Kelly was from Army Intelligence. From time to time the Minister would instruct me to pay a sum from the Department's funds. The procedure followed. The sum would be paid from the departmental fund to the number 2 account of the Irish Red Cross Society, Bank of Ireland, and the Red Cross in turn would arrange to transfer this to the account in the name of the Belfast Fund." Fagan goes on to say, and I paraphrase, that this was a regular occurrence, that the money being placed in the Red Cross bank account was being transferred to an account which was under the control of Captain James Kelly of G2 Military Intelligence for use by Irish Secret Services in their so-called defence of the North. In this final clip, I read from Mr. Fagan's statement. Captain James Kelly of G2 Military Intelligence was accompanied by another man who was also named Kelly. The purpose of their visit was to see the Minister. Now, Mr. Fagan was referring to the Minister for Finance, who was Charles Haughey. Fagan goes on to say, "I said to James Captain Kelly, was the other Kelly his brother? And Captain Kelly replied, no, he is no relation." The reason why we wanted to show this snippet from Mr. Fagan's statement was this. What this portion of Mr. Fagan's statement actually shows is that Captain James Kelly of G2 Military Intelligence, he went to see Charles Haughey, the Finance Minister, and he was accompanied by one John Kelly. Now, we learnt earlier in this documentary who John Kelly was. John Kelly was a lifelong Republican from a Republican family. John Kelly was involved in the IRA border campaign from the 1950s going through to the 1960s. John Kelly was the founder member of the Provisional IRA along with a man called Sean McStephen. John Kelly was the man that turned the defence committees in Northern Ireland into Provisional IRA killing machines. And here we have an official in the Irish Army, a captain in G2 Military Intelligence, accompanied by the Provisional IRA to talk to the Minister for Finance. That same minister, earlier in the documentary, we see from intelligence reports that this minister was making money available for the so-called defence of the North.